Oh, the big hands. Oh, the big hands. Hi, everybody. This is. Wait a minute. All right. Hi, everybody. This is Seeking Truth, Finding Frank and Fraser. Fraser should be on in a second. I'm going to invite him. And we're going to continue our talk about the American Constitution, finishing up the First Amendment, possibly getting into the second, because we got to the complicated parts the first time. As soon as we finished my seat. We got to the complicated parts first time. The second part, sorry, there isn't too much more to go into it. It was like we broke it down to 6 parts, and we got the last 2. Right of the people to peaceably assemble and petition the government. So, the peaceably. Okay, what the hell's going on here? Okay. Okay, we start over. With the right to peacefully assemble and petition the government for redress of grievances. But basically, petitions, stuff like that. It's asking the government for changes in local law, variances, freedoms, whatever, what have you. So, Fraser, I know you're watching. Hi. So it says adding. Oh, there you are.
Hey, sorry. I was just,
you can,
I started listening to you, and you said the Constitution, and whoops, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hello?
Yeah.
You hear me? Yeah, so you said the Constitution. I'm like, I forgot to bring another device to actually read the Constitution. I ran back to get it, and I was like, all right. And all of a sudden it was really cold. I'm like, why is it cold? And I'm like, oh yeah, I opened the window because I was burning my supper earlier, and the smoke alarm was going on. But I forgot to close the windows. It was like this cold breeze coming in. Anyhow, so I'm here.
And apparently apparently Fraser is conducting trains tonight.
Why is that?
You look at your hat. You look like a train conductor.
Well, I was wearing a hat all day, and I was like, oh, the hair's not so bad. But oh, my hair's gonna be terrible. It's like my little.
Well, it
is true.
I gotta say, did you ever watch Field of Dreams, Tom Hanks? It's a movie.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, with baseball one.
Yeah, you remind me of that one little line. You look like a penis with a hat on it. Get out! Your hat.
I'll take the hat off. Wait, so I take the hat off. Wait, I don't know if that makes it any better.
No,
so I took the hat off. I just look like a penis now.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna get into. You know what? What I'm gonna do? We get these little banter. I'll officially start it, and then you can edit out this stuff from YouTube. Okay, so let me collect myself because that's funny. All right.
I haven't actually got to editing much recently. I just throw them straight up there. No one's watching.
Edit this out.
Okay. I've got to for the actual episode, I've got to make like 5-minute stuff. I realize I got to find like those little clips because, anyways, I got to get to that sometime, but not yet.
All right. So welcome to Seeking Truth, Finding Frank and Fraser, and our continuing conversation about the American Constitution and specifically the Bill of Rights. So we left off last time. We were talking about, we broke it down actually to 6 parts. We got to the first floor actually. And the last 2 is the right of the people to peaceably assemble and to petition the government for redress of grievances. This is kind of simple because, basically the peaceably assembly is basically just, in the streets holding signs. We want this, we want that, we want the other thing. That's a fair right of every American citizen. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, as I was saying online, I was just trying to look quickly to the Canadian one, what it has. I don't have it in front of me now. I'm just looking at the American one. But basically, just peaceful assembly. That seems to be that was one that we have up here too. Peaceful assembly then being, what does that mean exactly? And I know that, I know up here you kind of have to get permits. So you have to ask permission to, that kind of thing.
Same here.
There's one in Montreal. Yeah. There's one in Montreal, and they're well known for, it's basically the anti-police march. They never say when they're doing it. And the police always follow them as closely as they can on like social media beforehand, and then shut it down as quickly as they can. Everyone's coming in like face masks and stuff, and you're not supposed to do that either. Yeah, that's another thing. You're not supposed to cover your face now. I think in the street, you're not supposed to wear any kind of like something like this.
I don't know if that's a law here or not, but I don't think it's most.
Or is
Well, if
that
you're gonna do
true?
it, you
I
look
don't know
like
if that's
kind of
true.
thug. I don't know. I don't think it's true. I don't know about here, but
It shouldn't be true though. That's why I said in Canada, like we got winter. What the
yeah,
hell, man?
exactly. I think you it's much colder. You'd have to cover your face.
I'm not gonna lose my nose for some stupid. Anyway, no, but they're talking about
Yeah.
basically in these manifestations. I think like they'll kind of. I don't know what that means. Actually, I'm not sure on that. I said that, but I just remember someone saying that you're not supposed to. I'm like, what are you talking about? Get cold about 6 months of the year. I'm covering my face. Fuck you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The video you sent me, the like summer starts when the snow melts, and doesn't stop until August. So,
Yeah,
so
that's it.
their summers last from what
Yeah.
from like what March or April until August. That's summer, and then
Oh
winter comes.
man. Yeah, that's it. The gardeners know all about that. Like you get like frost and snow in June and your garden's like well, all the early stuff will be
Well,
done.
really, you
Like
get
anything that
frost?
had sprouts on it.
Wow, wow. All right, we hit
I've seen
90.
snow in every month of the year back on the farm. Every single month, including July, we
You
got
can get
snow.
frost? Wow. Okay.
We got
Oh,
snow. We got like 2 or 3 inches
snow,
in July of snow. But
snow.
yeah, late, like early frost would be like, the last week or two of August. You get a frost in there, especially in different, like maybe lower in the valleys, or maybe,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, we get killing frost in August, killing frost in June. Sometimes it like really hits hard the fruit
I
trees
get.
that try and
Oh,
bloom in
yeah,
June,
yeah.
and then they boom, all the flowers are gone. Yeah, our winters
Wow.
can be
It's that
long. But then we can
that
get 20 degrees in March too. Like it's weird, right?
that's 20 degrees Celsius for everybody watching.
Yeah, so it's like 70 degrees,
Yeah.
but just that you have like ups and downs, and then you get like a foot of snow. Yeah, springtime is like this
Dang.
from
I don't know if I
March
could.
through end
I
of
don't know if I
April.
could live in Canada.
Mhm.
I don't. I don't mind the cold.
It's
I
always,
just don't like the snow.
oh, it's
That.
always an adventure.
Yeah, I bet. All right. So the peaceably assemble means in the street, assembling like,
Winter or summer,
and winter or summer. Yeah, right. If you want to freeze, depending on
mostly
what you want.
summer.
And the petition to
Remember that one, the
what?
Occupy Wall Street one, and they tried to camp out, and then it got
Oh
colder and
God, you don't know
colder.
what they Fraser, you don't know what they did. They set up tents. They threw garbage in the street. They urinated,
That was
defecated in the street.
crazy,
They
right?
committed such random acts of vandalism.
Sure.
It was the most
Yeah,
disgusting
sure.
display of human uh, depravity I've ever seen. I'm sorry,
But
Ladina.
how does that fall into this now?
That
Freedom
wasn't
of,
legal, but that really that well they had the freedom to do
it
that,
wasn't, but
but
yeah,
they didn't have the freedom to vandalize what they did. Throwing
yeah.
bodily fluids and feces all over the street. They were defecating on police cars. It was disgusting. I don't care if they want
Maybe, yeah.
that. No.
Well, maybe it comes with these rights and responsibility. You have the right to free protest, but you have the responsibility to bring porta potties. Hmm?
Well, you had the
Well,
responsibility to
practically,
do.
right?
Yeah. Well,
Like again, that's part of the law is you don't get the right to poop on the street,
no.
right?
Well,
Like seriously, that's illegal. Don't do that, right?
if you want to, you're right. You want to act. You want to do that. Act like a decent human being. I mean, be courteous. Follow recycling laws. Throw out your garbage. Clean up after yourself. And these people having sex in public too, in the tents. You can get it was just horrible.
Freedom of expression, man. That's just
Well,
that's one of the
there's also but there's also laws
Oh,
that
that's almost good. I want to get into nudity too. Where, like, again,
yeah,
drawing these lines where we stop. Like, again, protest, like you say, obviously there's illegal things, but then
there's
there's kind
public
of
decency laws in New York.
ethical
I don't
right and wrong things, like don't be a jerk. But again,
well public
people can
decency,
protest,
yeah,
they can be jerks,
of
right?
course, yeah.
But there's
But public
decency
decency
stuff,
laws,
but
you can't have sex in
laws,
public. Interestingly
yeah,
enough,
and
it
pee
is
or poop
legal.
in
Yeah.
public. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah,
Interestingly enough, it is legal in New
gross.
York City for women to walk around topless. Perfectly legal. Believe it or not.
That's bottomless? No,
No.
buck nude?
Can't show
No.
genitals, just the top.
Is there
Just the top.
the top? what about oh, I was, it's gonna make some joke about
Oh, go
some of these
ahead.
Jersey boys. No, Jersey
Oh God.
Jersey
Well,
Shore. No, was it
well,
something like this? This sort of like big muscular, like, burly and hairy Italian guys walking shirtless. Like,
yeah.
anyways, I'm trying to fit that in there, but no, topless women, and it's almost that. Like, why not? It's for the people that are kind of squirmy about it. It's like, so get over it. Someone has the right to express themselves up to a certain point,
Up
like
to a
not to be
certain point,
offensive
yeah,
and hang your Johnson out.
yeah.
That's kind of
That
icky.
well,
Maybe and
yeah,
also sanitary as well. There might be stuff falling off of there. Women's junk too,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Sanitary reasons, like keep it to
Well,
yourself a little bit,
it's
cover it
not
up.
sanitary as much as it is for decency. Uh, and there's a
But should that
liberal
be a
movement.
law?
Well, it's not. It's a law. You can walk around topless if you're a man or woman in New York. But there's a bunch of women out there that's saying that the breast is not a sexual part of the human body.
Oh
I
yeah, that's what I
can.
mean. When I mean the junk, I
Yeah.
mean the downstairs junk because
Okay.
there's
Oh,
not
okay. Yeah.
like icky
No,
stuff that can fall off the boobs, right? But there's icky stuff that can kind of like
depends.
I'm thinking
Yeah.
about crabs
Yeah.
or something that can jump out of your
Oh,
furry
no, no,
spot.
no. We're not talking about
And so you want to cover
that.
that up. But is that decent or is that like again, if I can see a public health thing in there, I can go with it being a law for that reason. But not just because some people would don't like seeing it. I don't think that's a really good reason to have a law. Whereas,
For
again,
public
so
nudity?
public decency,
Why
that's
public?
more an individual level. Like I
But
don't
you
know if
don't
we
think
can
there should be
agree
a
on
law?
what's publicly
Wait a minute,
decent.
Fraser. I would let
No,
me.
public decency.
Well,
Pooing
let
and
me.
peeing is different, sex is different, and going bottomless is different. I don't think those are about public decency. Those are more about health. I don't want to sit on a sticky
I think
park
it's more
bench. That's
about public
gross.
decency.
Pooing and peeing, that's about disease. So it's more about public health. Laws on those ones, good.
No,
Going
I think it's a
topless,
decency.
like why would and why
But
not?
why would anyone want to walk around naked for someone to ogle you? Against some kind of harassment. Yeah, and why would you?
But
Yeah,
but why should it be a law?
why shouldn't it be a law though? I thought I heard something outside.
No, I mean, if you want to make a law about how to tell someone else to do, I was going to say how to tell me what to do. I mean, it's got to be justified, not just that some people don't like it. That's like, again, that's sort of, you have the responsibility to have thick skin. You have the responsibility to
Well,
look somewhere else if you don't like how someone's looks, right? It's
well,
like,
that goes
and
for
so yeah,
proper attire. You want to walk around if you're a woman in a bikini, if you're a man in a speedo, that's fine. You don't want to have to look at that. They're not showing any sexual parts of their body. Now you're talking about women walking around topless, when men and women walking around showing the genitals, the whole naked body. That's public decency. I think that should be a law to
no.
prohibit.
I said that wasn't bottomless. I said that was public health. I said,
But
and anything that
decency,
falls under public
but
decency,
why wouldn't it fall under
I
public
don't think that should be
decency?
a law. I don't think that should be a law. No.
So you would
Who is
allow
it
people to
hurting?
walk around naked.
Who is it hurting? Topless, Frank. I said not
We're
bottomless.
talking
I'm not
about,
talking about bottomless, okay?
but if you're right, if you're talking about
I
not
think those are two
topless
different
being not
things.
decency,
Breasts and vajayjay and penis. Penis and vajayjay, I'm not talking about those. I think it should be illegal to walk around with your penis or
but
vajayjay
you just said for
hanging out.
but you just said for sanitary
I just
reasons,
said
not public
that
decency, but not public decency. So
because
why not for
that's
decency?
right.
But why not?
Oh, I think it's indecent, but I don't think we should make laws on decency.
All right,
And so if it is for decency, I think it's indecent. You and I agree,
I
but I
agree.
don't
I
think that should be
agree.
a law because you and I agree on decency.
I think it
It's
should be a
just
law.
about what about hurting other people?
Right, you're not
One of the
hurting other
only things I
people.
think
Yeah.
laws should be for is again, just to make sure everyone knows you can't hurt someone else. You can
But,
do what you want, freedom, but as soon as it hurts someone else. So again, wearing a Speedo, it's not illegal, you're covering the junk, but that hurts my eyeballs. Some
you
guys,
hurt
sorry guys, that is
yeah,
really
yeah,
disturbing.
yeah, yeah.
It stays with me and I can't forget it, okay? I'm just saying. But I think it's indecent. I think it's kind of gross. I think not gross, it's just kind of like, oh, why would you put that string right up your crack,
Well,
right?
no, Speedo is
Weird.
not. No,
But
that's a G string.
go ahead and do it. Like I will never, ever, ever push for a law to say anti-speedo, even though I think it's indecent. I don't ever want to do it. Or no, what's the one that goes up your butt crack?
G string.
I don't remember. Not a speedo.
That's a
Some
G string.
G string, something like that, right? I don't ever want to do a law against it, right?
My
It's against
analogies
that
are
decency
bothering me.
thing. So again, cover your junk. I can only be for a law for covering your junk because it's a public health thing. And so not doing it would actually potentially do harm to other people in terms of disease spreading. So I would put a law there, but I
So,
wouldn't put a law on boobs. Let them
well,
fly if you want.
lucky
Doesn't
enough,
hurt
in New
me.
York you
Doesn't hurt
can,
anyone.
but not that anybody really
That's
does it,
it. They're
but you
great.
can.
Canada
Yeah.
too. There was some people that did a big one woman. She protested what was apparently a rule, or someone was trying to say that it was a law. It wasn't a law yet. So she just walked right down Main Street, Toronto, or whatever, buck naked. No, topless. I mean,
Topless.
topless, topless, topless.
Mm-hmm.
And they arrested her. She challenged it. Boom, boom, boom. Supreme Court. You can walk out naked. So he went up against that Charter of
You
Rights and
know,
Freedoms. It was just like, no, who is she hurting? How can you justify it if someone's not hurting someone else? And I think we'll apply this to a lot of stuff. We're
well,
supposed to be
yeah,
talking about
there's,
protest. How did we get this?
no, because that's part of
Not
protesting. You
protest,
want
boob protest.
people were
Yeah, that's true.
protesting, walking around topless. It's
Yeah,
just this has been something that's been going on in New York at least for the last 10 years or so, and it's now a law that you can walk around
yeah,
topless. So that was like they that was a redress. That was like a petition or something that they wanted that law changed. So that's the
yeah.
second part. Well, that's the sixth part, the petitioning part. Um, whether
Oh
we agree
yeah,
with it or not,
petitioning.
whether we agree with it or not, exactly like I said, if you want to do it, fine. Yeah, I support your freedom of expression.
Yeah,
I don't have to agree with it. I don't have to agree with what you have to say, but I
yeah.
support what you want to do. Right?
I don't like walking around topless. I won't. You won't catch me
Well,
walking around topless.
I have
Not even like even when I was like before. Just like I
I
don't
have
think it's
boobs.
decent in that sense. I just don't think it's like it's
Right. I
not.
see.
Why would you know? It's like too much information almost. But that's just me, right?
All right, I'm
Like
gonna
you
take.
won't often catch me out other than at the swimming pool. It's like oh why would I be topless? I'm more comfortable, with a little protection against mosquitoes or whatever.
I
And
want to
in the
take this
winter,
a
I mean, there's
little
8 months
religious
when you got
now.
to put 3 layers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pardon?
Right.
Go ahead.
I want to take this into religion
So
now
that's
in the
it. Yeah.
Bible, and
Yeah.
the Bible says at least for us to dress not conservatively, just cover. Oh God, I can't get the word out. I had the word to tip of my tongue. Just to dress. I'll also use the word conservatively. Just cover up. You don't have to show super tight clothes. Just wear something to cover up. That's modestly. That's it. That was the word. Modestly. Dress modestly.
Modest.
Right. So that's the biblical thing. So as a Christian and a practicing Christian, I'd like to see people dress modestly, not showing off everything. Of course, you want to
But
do
what
it.
does that
It's
mean?
up to you.
That is very relative, though. You know that from like one century to another. You remember like
Exactly.
the
No.
blah,
Well,
blah,
yeah,
blah,
you got a
that
relevant, right?
changes. So what
Yeah.
modesty is, at one time, like showing cleavage, that was okay, but don't show an ankle. It was
See,
like an
I don't
English
think
thing.
that
It was like,
cleavage. No, I think
what? You're
cleavage
like
falls under
showing most of
modesty. I
your
don't think they would.
boobs,
I don't think
but
they
you
would.
won't
No,
show.
the Bible doesn't allow showing cleavage either. To
It's
cover up.
different.
To cover up to your neck. You know,
But it's just
if you want to
modesty is a
dress.
weird thing to define. And that it starts to get scary when you get in a religious sense of how to dress.
So you take culture by culture. So in our culture today, let's take our culture. Let's not go back
Yeah.
2,000 years.
No, just
We
any kind of
can.
rules about
No,
telling
we
how
can.
people
We
how to
can.
dress.
No,
And then
well,
with religious backing, it's kind of like, I don't know
no,
if I
we
want to go
can. But
there.
let's
But
we'll
it's
take
just,
it back to modern
yeah,
modern day right now.
sure.
So being on a beach, which is kind of like we're public too, right? Dressing modestly would be a bikini,
Mhm.
where back 2,000 years ago that would not fly at all because you're showing a lot of skin. So like the definition of modesty has changed over the years. But
Brazil's Catholic, right?
oh yeah, yeah, oh my God, yeah, they do a lot.
Do you know what they do to preserve virginity?
No,
Take it up the butt.
they do that here too. That's
No, but
not
Brazilian
weird.
girls,
I
I'm just
know.
saying, I didn't know any Brazilians intimately, but you get stories even from ladies
About
just laughing about it. It's like, yeah, this is just kind of a thing. And not to preserve it, but to kind of keep some sort of purity to the other
I don't
side.
think
I
that I
don't
don't
know.
think
It's
that
a
helps.
weird
I
thing.
think that the
It's a weird, I'm just,
yeah, I know. No, I've heard of it. I've heard of this. Believe me, I have.
and like a cultural thing, but sorry, it just popped into my mind as Catholic. It was like, and I heard that it sounded the link with the Catholic. Oh, why did they do that? And it was almost like it was that sort of thing. It was the Catholic thing about even trying to do things for procreation purposes well, if you're doing it that way, you're not procreating, so go have a hay time or
Yeah,
something like
no,
that. And I'm sure maybe it's I don't know, it's beyond that. It's also the macho culture, it's the power structure and whatevs. But
I
it's
think
like,
it
oh,
counts.
weird things.
Yeah,
But it was all about
but
these
we off.
cultural
I
rules,
think
almost
we
cultural
just
laws that we
we
talked
went
about
off topic.
before. It's sort of like it's softer than the moral laws. There's moral laws up here, 10 of them, and then some cultural ones in the scripture that we're talking about, no?
Well, I think that the moral laws outweigh the cultural laws. Doesn't matter what the culture does. There's a certain morality we have to follow. So when the culture says something is okay to do, does morality say it's okay, or it's it's not a fight. There is
Yeah.
morality you have to follow, whether cultural says it's not. Like we'll go back to 1933,
Mhm.
Nazi Germany. It was culturally okay to kill Jews. Was it morally okay? Obviously not.
But no,
So
no, we're going too far. Going too far.
no,
Just about clothes.
I
What if
am
it
taking
was
it to an
like
extreme.
culturally
No, I
okay
am
to go in bikinis?
right.
Then what
I'm
you have to
taking it
do
to
is
an
just be a
extreme,
good
but yeah.
person in a bikini.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
No, no, I just
No,
yeah.
I'm taking it to an extreme, but like in public, you on the beach, a bikini is okay, but it's okay to walk in Central Park in a bikini in the summer. You it's a line right now that maybe not maybe you shouldn't do it. It's publicly okay, but is it morally okay? I don't know. Probably I wouldn't think so.
Well, I think so. No, no, no. I think we're going again. Like moral that supersedes it. Moral is like for me. Let's just go golden rule to simplify it right down.
Okay,
Is walking in Central
Central
Park
Park.
following the golden rule or the golden dog poop rule?
It's probably
And
Golden
how,
Dog
I don't
Poop.
see how we can fit it into the golden dog poop rule.
I don't see we can
To
either.
say
Right?
you're
Yeah.
intentionally doing harm to someone else. And so
All
if
right.
after that, then it's kind of cultural norms to me. And so cultural norms say don't walk naked in Central Park. Okay, well you can choose to be one of the more, vocal people about wanting to walk naked. Falls under freedom of speech for me. Fine, be a weirdo naked in the park. I'm going to go over here
Is
where
it
we're
right?
not
Okay,
being
so it's
naked.
culturally okay, but is that morally okay? No, walking naked
Yes.
is not morally okay.
Morally okay or not is to me golden dog poop or golden rule.
Well,
So how can we fit that into the golden dog poop rule, intentionally doing harm to others, and not fit it into
again, it's
just don't
kind of
do
it
harm to
falls
others?
under decency.
How is it doing harm to
It's
someone
hard
else?
to explain that. It's for me, it's hard to explain. Uh, See, nudity is a big thing in the Bible too, Christianity, Judaism, uh, Islam. So it's exposing kids to that too. I don't think you want to have kids exposed to public nudity not at such a young age.
You don't. No.
I don't.
But why? Well, it's not in the Ten Commandments. Why, again, moral though, morally. Like, why is it morally wrong?
You know what? That could be a good. That could be something I could study for another
I don't know.
podcast because that's a whole
It could
subject
be, because I
into
think
and
it
of
falls
itself.
under free
Yeah,
speech,
because
freedom of
yeah.
expression. But yeah,
No, it
absolutely.
absolutely does. It
Absolutely. We can
absolutely
call it
does.
porn.
But that's a whole
We
subject
call
that we can
I
get
know.
deep into,
It
man.
is. It really is. But it's one of those, in my mind, it's one of those lines that, again, I find at least some solace in. Like, we can cover up the bottoms there. The tops, I understand why people don't like it. And if we have like 99.9% of the population that really finds that icky, like if you're in a more, like a part of the world where, again, clothing is more run by the state. What you're going to wear is what the president says you're going to wear. That kind of thing, which is scary as heck.
Yeah,
That, excuse me, but it's one of those lines between freedom, like the freedom of expression and what that means. And when you don't have it and you
freedom of
start going just by clothes, don't wear red, it's like, well, okay, that's kind of okay. Some people don't like red,
yeah.
but then where does that go? Like if we're allowing laws that don't protect you from
Well,
dog
here's
poop,
not right. Exactly. Here's the thing now that
why are we making that law? And
In
I think
America.
that's
Well, yeah.
big
Well,
government.
well, let
That's
me
too big
explain.
a government. That's
Well,
one
let
of
me
those things
explain.
I say, government, stop talking about boobs. Just don't even put it, it's not in the Constitution. It just says freedom of expression, falls right under there.
Right. The government
After
can tell
that,
you have to stay dressed, but it doesn't tell you what you have to wear. So you can wear a towel in public as long as you're covered up. That's that
Montreal,
line.
do you know what Montreal does sometimes?
No.
I came here and I was just like jaw on the floor. Ladies walking around with like clothes, fully clothed, in summer, but the
Yeah.
clothing does not have to be opaque. It
Oh.
can be transparent, apparently. Here's
I
the
don't.
Alberta boy from the farm.
Fraser, I need you to take pictures just for my personal files
Just
and
for research
your
purposes,
research
you want to
purposes.
see how
Exactly. Yeah.
freedom of expression is applied in New York. You can take some pictures for me of the New York application of the
They don't
freedom
do
of
that here.
expression
They
in this
never.
gender.
You know what?
You said
They
they
it's the
don't do
law.
it.
They
They
never, but they
yeah.
never do it here. I've never seen
You
an
never
instance where
do
they
it.
never do. They don't do. They
This
want the
lady
law.
that did it in
They want the ability, but they don't want
that's
to actually do it.
it's a point of doing it though. But I can understand that. It's almost like the what was George Carlin, saying the words that you're not
George
supposed to
Carlin.
say.
Yeah, the seven
This
dirty
lady in
words. Yeah.
Canada, the lady in Canada, she didn't want to do it. Like that's not something she wanted to do. It was something that she found out about or something like this and didn't like it. And so it was just about no, standing up for just basic freedoms for the sake of standing up for basic freedoms, not because necessarily you want to do it,
Right.
but just
Yeah.
that you don't want the government to start saying, yeah, stop wearing red hats. It's just like, no,
Right. Because
don't talk to me about red hats
there's a fine line between a good
before.
law and tyranny. And
And
when
to
government
if we
starts,
start saying,
right,
oh, it's okay for the red hats, but
right.
no, I think it's just
So when the
like,
government
no, we have
starts
to draw a
stepping over
fine
that
line.
line,
Dog poop.
the government starts stepping over that line into tyranny, guiding or
Yeah,
telling you what to do every second of the day. That's when we have a problem.
that's it.
So that's why America has the Bill of Rights. So we have these
Yeah.
rights so the government doesn't step over those that line.
Yes, exactly. Like to really, because even a person, like if it's guiding sort of the way we make laws, so that laws are only to prevent one from doing harm to another. We just want to step in there to
Pretty
make
much, yeah.
sure that that's kind of and it's one, yeah, I'm generalizing, but yeah, that it falls back on those on those Bill of Rights, but anyways, that it's built up from there. Oh, I wanted to get to the petition one too, because I
Yeah.
actually looked that up, what that meant. I didn't know what
Very
that
good.
meant, and it was like, but then it made me think of a story I heard in the States about lobbyists, because it's basically kind
Oh,
of lobbyism is kind of what you're saying.
yeah. I'm gonna explain
Excuse me, but where
lobbyist.
I'm going with that, not about the problem of lobby money or anything, but it was
No, I
just about
explain what it
the
is.
states and that that you have the right to lobby, but you have to line up at the desk to sign in something every day or of the day of or something like this. The lobbyists do. So a lobbyist
Hmm.
firm, or apparently it was a practice, maybe not just one, you hire homeless people to stand in line for you because it'll be all day. It'll be like 8 hour
Never heard of
lineups
them.
for the lobbyist lineups, and they'll hire homeless people just to guard the place. And it was just like, that's hilarious. So it was the right to petition, but this like pain in the butt process to do it. Like any normal person would have to wait 8 hours to plead their case. And so lobbyists firms that have, at least any side of them, they always have money, can pay, $50 to a homeless guy to wait in line all day for them. I just thought it was genius, but I think it comes under the right to petition, no?
Lobbying is not this, is not with
It's
doesn't
not,
fall under
oh,
petition. It's
I mean, I
something
got it all
completely
wrong.
different. Okay, according to the Wikipedia, I'm gonna get wait,
Totally
hold
got it
on.
wrong.
I'm gonna get the etymology. Um, in a report carried by the BBC and EOD lexicographer has shown that lobbying finds its roots in the gathering of the members of Parliament and peers in the hallways, lobbies of UK Houses of Parliament before and after parliamentary debates where members of the public can meet their representatives. So, one story held the term originated at the Willard Hotel in Washington, D.C., where it was supposedly used by President Ulysses S. Grant to describe the political advocates who frequented the hotel's lobby to access Grant, who was often there in the evenings to enjoy a cigar and brandy, and then would try to buy the president drinks in an attempt to influence his political decisions. So, uh,
Because they're
going
hanging out
from
in the
Grant,
lobby.
exactly. So going from Grant now to today, the lobbyists actually pay senators, people of the House, maybe the president, to get certain laws passed. It's not entirely legal, but it is legal. They get a lot done. They get a lot of laws. Like for GE, for instance, they got the tax laws rewritten so they wouldn't have to pay any taxes at all. GE is one of the biggest companies in America, and I think it was in 2008 they paid $0 in taxes on a $6 billion profit.
It's
Zero. And that's all from
crazy.
lobbying. So, it's, I
I can
don't
see
agree
though
with a lot
that
of
there,
people.
I had some friends that were, well, some friends. One guy that I knew in particular, he was lobbying in the manufacturing industry in Canada. And lobbying, it's a lot softer of a game in Canada. You got to understand, and
Oh, it
maybe
is.
more to the what the principle behind it is. And it's just kind of, as he put it, and he probably softening it down, as it were, but just that that there are interests, group interests within the country. So in this case, it's like the manufacturing lobby. So when the government goes to talk about a law to do with trade or this thing, they may not have entirely the expertise, or at least not the opinions of those that are directly involved, right?
Okay, so
There's a
it's much
group of
different in
Canadians,
Canada.
the
Yeah.
manufacturers, and so it's supposed to be kind of for that. Like, okay, if we change this, oh, right, we forgot that the manufacturers, they ship all their coal from
Yeah.
Oregon or whatever it is, And so if we change that, that's like doubles their input costs, that kind of thing. So just it's supposed to be maybe more to inform them. But as you say, and here it's really on the up and up in that everyone that talks to them, they're
Oh
supposed to
man.
like every interaction is kind of
Yeah.
written down somewhere and recorded.
Oh God.
But so you
Not
can't
here.
really have the drinks at the local bar, but they apparently do that. There's apparently dives where that's where the meetings actually happen, kind of thing, and where money could exchange hands for probably these things. They say it doesn't happen in Canada. Come
I don't believe
on,
you.
but yeah, and
So it sounds like
so
Canada's
it
like
happens. It should. It's
they do everything on a handshake, and we're basically informing them that this measure might harm my business. Could you please change it to this and that? It's very different in
yeah,
America. Like for instance,
yeah,
Planned Parenthood lobbies at the tune of $35 million to Congress to get
hmm
$500 million in government funding in order to stay in business. So yeah, it's
yeah,
like a lot of
really,
bribery. It's a lot of money changing
yeah,
hands. It's a lot of under the table deals going on. It's a mess here, and the lobbyists don't
yeah,
do everything that they can for the betterment of the people. They do it for their own greed, their own benefit. So like GE would lobby for the taxes, Planned Parenthood lobbying for more government funding.
yeah.
Cigarette companies are lobbying to keep them legal too. It's a whole mess in America.
But and everyone should like, and that's the idea that everyone's got the right to say what they need. And now, if what you are is a tobacco company, say, I mean, that's the sort of principle. Agree with it if you will or not, but that's sort of Citizens United that we heard a lot about, sort of where money is free speech and that there is no limit on political contributions,
Money is not
like
free
this kind of
speech.
one.
Money is money.
But just that, but basically it was like there, whereas here there's like heavy restrictions on how much you can donate financially when it's on the books, as it were. It was like
Yeah.
$5,000. And so a company can donate $5,000, any individual can. The
Right.
controversies come up when there was some employers that said to their employees basically, donate $5,000 to this party and we'll give you a
We'll grant
$5,000
you.
bonus at the end of the year. So it's a
Funny
way
you
of kind
mention
of
that.
putting up bigger,
Very funny you
it's a
mention
weird
that.
one.
There's a man in
Yeah.
America. His name is Dinesh D'Souza. He was actually put
Oh,
in
I've heard.
jail.
Yeah, I've seen
Okay.
some of him.
He
Yeah.
was actually put in jail for violating the campaign finance laws. He donated, was it $20,000, I think, to a presidential candidate. I don't know which one it was, Republican candidate. He was he donated this money in lieu for his friend who gave him the money. He said, "I'll give you the money. You donate it in my name, right?" So he was arrested and put in jail for that. The only man in America arrested for donating over giving to the Republican Party. It was a felony,
But not even
actually.
by that much. Like that's
Wasn't
kind
that
of
much? No,
peanuts, right?
no.
Where they were
But it was
talking about these super PACs, like these
right.
things
And this
that,
guy,
well, I don't even know about
this
these
little
super
guy,
PACs, which
yeah,
is like invisible money for billions of dollars, $20,000. Like that's, come on,
right. But
wow.
because
That one might have been politically
he's
motivated.
anti-Hillary, he's anti-Democrat. He's very Republican, very conservative. He knows the history of the Democrat Party and liberalism. They didn't like that, and plus he made that movie about Obama's America, a while ago. After before he
Oh,
did
I
it
heard
after he was
about that
jailed.
in
Yeah, he made
discussions.
that after
I
he was
haven't
jailed.
actually watched.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Is it any good?
Yeah,
I
I
heard
saw
about
it.
it. Like I've
It was
seen
very
him in
good.
some debates. Is it well made or is it long?
It was about an
Like a
hour
regular
and
kind of
20
hour
minutes,
and a half kind
an
of
hour and a half,
hour
about
and
an
a
hour
half.
and a half. It was very interesting.
I'll probably get it. Yeah, gotta find
And
some time.
but
Yeah.
this little immigrant from India who got caught violating campaign finance laws. And there are people who do that to the tune of millions, but they donated to the Democrat
Yeah.
Party. So they're donating to the right party, the party of the good old boys, so they don't have any consequences. He did this for the
But they're all
Republican
doing
Party.
it. They're all
Oh, they're
doing
doing
it.
it.
Like
They're
I've
all
understood that
doing it
everywhere. But why that guy though? Why him?
because
Like he's just this
they
sweet
wanted to.
looking guy, like
Yeah,
little kind of like, but he talks really nicely, right?
he
Or he
does.
talks
Yeah,
very
he does.
eloquent, or a very
Oh,
good
he's very
orator.
smart man. Very, very smart man.
But for
But
that, yeah,
it's because they wanted to
that
make
just
an
seems so
example.
benign. That's so weird.
They
Yeah,
want to make an example of him. That was their only
yeah,
reason. Yeah, and
that's it.
being a felon, it was a felony, by the way. He can't get work doing
Yeah,
some certain things. So now he's become a
sack
professional.
him.
So right. So now his only thing now is to become a professional political pundit and charge for speaking in public schools and colleges, stuff like that.
Hmm.
It ended up working out for him. He made money on the Obama's America,
Oh
Hillary's
yeah,
America. So
it's
God,
like
thank
any.
God, he did good.
Well, it's just
Yeah.
like any publicity is good publicity. They say that too, right?
Oh yeah,
And
right.
if you're trying to promote something like Obama's America and then whoops, during that time you're arrested for
But
something
that was before.
benign.
No, he was arrested
Oh,
before that.
wow, that helps. Whoops, that helps. Oh, that was before it. But just that
Yeah.
you can see that a character that's maybe running into this conflict left and right, and all of a sudden he gets right in jail or something. That probably
Well,
helps his ratings a little bit. Or, people want to talk to him. He gets those speaker fees because that happened. Maybe it was a good thing. Everything's part of the path. But
I'm gonna find out a little bit about him. I want to see when he went to jail. I'm looking up on Wikipedia right now.
sure.
His college.
I
He's
should pull
actually.
up, and when yeah, we're talking
I'm
before, I
sorry.
pulled up the Charter of Rights and
Here we go.
Freedoms. I thought, oh, we
Actually,
could do a couple episodes just on we have
I'm
about
gonna
six of them or something.
I'm
Go
gonna read
ahead. You
what
got him? You
actually
got him now?
I'm gonna read
Yeah, go
his
ahead.
conviction right now. Anyway, January
Yeah.
24th, 2014, D'Souza was arraigned in Manhattan federal court on charges of making $20,000 in illegal campaign contributions to the New York State Senate campaign of Wendy Long, and for causing false statements to be made to the Federal Election Commission. $20,000. That's it. In May 2014, D'Souza pleaded guilty to one felony count of making illegal contributions in the name of others. Again, people do this all the time here. In September 2014, the court sentenced D'Souza to 5 years probation, 8 months in a halfway house, and a $30,000 fine. So he lost 10 grand. Oh, 50 grand if you want to count the contributions. D'Souza's attorney, because he
But I
gave,
don't understand
like
why
the
they have
legal,
this super PAC thing. Like, there's a
I don't
certain way
know.
of donating where you could donate $20,000 and no one would ever ask you a
Right, they
question.
don't,
But if you donate it the other way, all of a sudden it's super serious. Weird. I don't get you guys' laws at
neither
all.
do I.
I don't
A
know.
lot of it is confusing to us too, believe me.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was
Well,
his.
that's good.
And he wrote a lot of books too.
It's interesting though how it does fall under free speech in a way. Like again,
Giving
if
money
you
to.
have a lot of rich friends, then you're probably a better chance of getting them to be a politician because you can buy a lot of advertisement. Now that's not always true because as we saw in your
Yeah.
election, one was spending a lot less and still won. I think, right?
Trump was
Didn't Trump
spending a
spend
lot less.
less?
Trump spent a lot less. Yeah.
A lot less,
He
right?
did. Yeah.
He was doing things differently. He was just doing rallies rather than
Yeah.
commercials maybe. I don't know how he saved so much money, but so it's not always true, but in general, money speaks, right? If you get good
Money
fancy
talks, but
commercials,
it's not. Money in itself is not free speech. So
money
if I
talks.
to give
No,
money
but
to
you
a
know what I
hooker.
mean? Like if you have a lot of money, you're more chance of getting elected is
Oh
what I
yeah,
mean.
definitely, definitely, yeah. Oh
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
that's all I meant.
Oh yeah.
Usually, Trump was the exception, I think, on this one. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah. If money's
yeah.
free speech, though, if I was giving money to a hooker for sexual favors, is that free speech also? Am I buying free speech? That was.
Oh, now you get into a whole other one. No, but just legality around prostitution.
Yeah, right.
Did you know that prostitution is legal in Canada? I didn't know.
It's
What's
legal in most part of the
illegal,
United States too.
it's illegal to be a John, though, or something weird like that. Or it's illegal to
That's fun.
Something about using the proceeds of a crime. Oh, how does it work out?
Oh, I have no
It's
idea.
something weird where the actual act was legal, but something else about it was illegal. And then they made it legal, and now it's legal to have a bordel or something like this, in that they actually saw that it was reducing harm by letting them have a place to be.
Yeah, it actually
So the
does.
law that was
Legalizing
saying
prostitution.
illegal in a very restricted way, kind of, maybe Las Vegas has, I don't know how that example worked
Yeah,
out,
a
but to
part of
have
the
the
body, not Las
bordel,
Vegas, and not Las Vegas itself. It's outside.
oh,
It's about 4 or 5 hours outside Nevada.
Nevada.
Outside the
Okay,
Las Vegas.
a
It's in.
part of it.
Yeah, but there are legal bordellos out there. But
Yeah. It's
speaking of
interesting. I
making
don't know what I think
prostitution
about it.
legal,
But
when you make
yes.
prostitution legal, though, you take the police away from that part of their job and have them focus on something else, which is good. Plus,
Hmm.
if you can legalize it and you have them mandatory VD testing, mandatory use of condoms, stuff like that, some kind of regulations into it, where now you're not spreading
Yeah.
as much disease. Men have a safe place to go. Women have a safe place to practice, to make money, not practice it, but they have a safe place. Make it safer overall. You reduce a lot of crime.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't
And
like the idea of having it
no,
legal, but there are positives to it because people are going to do it.
yeah, there's harm reduction really. We're not talking
Right,
about, yeah,
right,
this is the best thing ever, but if we're talking about
right.
harm reduction, we're bringing it from like -1 to 0 or 1 or something. There was a thing like you made me think about like the massage parlors, the rub and tug kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah,
Do you guys have
yeah.
them?
Yes, we
I don't
do.
know.
Yes,
There's
we
one
do.
not far from here.
I don't. I wouldn't
They
go.
serve very good coffee. No, I'm joking. I would never go. Terrible. But it's
Oh
almost like,
man, it's
and
horrible.
that's terrible. But it's like, and I've heard Montreal has a reputation for having like strip bars that you can just that
Oh my
anything
God.
goes.
You know there was.
There's private rooms in the back and stuff. And it's like Americans will come here for that. There was one, I was doing Uber. Did I tell you I did Uber for a
Yeah,
little
you did.
while?
Yeah.
And so, maybe I told you some of the stories about people treat you like a taxi driver. So, there was a couple things, like a couple times, I'm sure there was Americans, but a couple of groups of guys jump in. And one time it was they asked, where's the best strippers, like the classiest strippers in town? And I said, I don't know. I heard of this place, and I thought someone said that's the best ones. They're like expensive or something. So I said, I've heard of this place. Couldn't remember where it was at or how to spell the name even. And then the other time someone asked me about like this kind of like stuff, I'm like, what a weird question to ask a stranger, right?
Yeah.
Was
Yeah.
they were asking for strippers where they can do everything, where they're allowed to
Oh.
go in the back and like kind of get
Yeah.
busy
Right.
because they've heard about this. I was like, I have no idea, man. I didn't even know that existed. And they're
I
coming
knew
here
it
on rumors
existed,
like
but no,
sex
it's very expensive.
tourism almost.
From what I heard, my brother
Yeah, I'm
told
sure,
me
but
there was a
yeah,
bordello
I'm sure it exists
massage
everywhere. I'm
parlor.
just
Yeah, well, there was a massage parlor at the block from my house. They busted it. I didn't know
yeah.
about it. I wouldn't go. I would never do anything like that. But they're all around.
I heard there's one not far, and they got a ticket because they were open too late. That was what they got a
Oh,
fine for. They were being
that's
open too late.
crazy.
They were. There's this big sign. I know where it is because it says massage. The E is like burnt out. The neon sign. It's massage.
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 Yeah,
Come on.
rub and tug.
So good of it.
Oh, it's so
God.
disgusting. I have a friend who went there.
What
I
is
won't
it?
say his name, but he said it was funny though when he said it though. I said, how was it at the end? He said he felt relieved and violated at the same time.
You felt relieved. I think that would be it. It would just be like, oh, I would be relieved, but it would be so shallow, I think. Or it would
Yeah, it
just be
would
like,
be.
oh, that's not
Yeah,
what I wanted at all. I wanted a relationship. But
right.
it comes down to are you doing harm to someone? And at least I think the rub and tug is different than actual maybe proper penetration and the possibility of transmitting disease.
But is it?
I don't know. But if
Is it
it's like if
harmful
someone
though?
wants to do it, I come to the point like if you really want to do that with your life, eh,
Well,
but at the same time,
it falls
I
under
wouldn't. But
sexual
rub and
immorality.
tug, it's like I don't
For
know,
me,
but
it
more
falls
like
under
what
sexual
are we doing
immorality.
harm? It's yeah, and it's
It's
personal like way to
right.
do it, but
This
I
is
don't know if I want to
more.
laws.
Yeah, this is more of a personal belief, maybe more religion oriented than than
Yeah.
someone who's not maybe someone's an atheist or something wouldn't think too much about that. Just it's just basically
I
mechanical
guess,
relief.
yeah.
But it's for me, it falls under
Yeah.
sexual immorality. You ask Sean, you ask Rob, Jerome, that'll fall under sexual immorality, and then they'll admit that they've done that kind of
Yeah,
immorality
no,
too.
I
So,
understand.
you know, so
But
yeah,
just in what is the harm? Like you're intentionally doing harm.
it's
I just
personal. It's
need
harm
that
to
kind of
yourself. Maybe
link.
well, Bible
The
says you can't
personal
harm your
thing.
own body too. So then maybe that's harming your own body. You don't, So it. I have a problem with it. I
What
do
about body
personally.
augmentation?
Oh, that doesn't
I like
bother me.
totally
Why not?
changed my body.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
I
well,
totally did
tattoos.
it.
Yeah, I know
I've got a
tattoos.
different color
Yeah,
skin.
I know.
I everywhere.
That's freedom
It's
of
like
expression.
I don't and what
There
did
you
I
go.
it hurt a little bit when it happened, but it was the best thing I ever did.
And
So it
that's
was just
freedom of
sort of like
expression.
each their own. If I do that, hell, anyone could do what they want. That guy that turned his face into a cat, it's like,
Yeah, I seen that.
okay, wow. Wow, wow. But let him do it, man.
One of my friends actually posted a
No-
picture of a
Ooh,
guy who cut his nose and ears off. Just wanted to come off. So he's got like that. I don't
who was
know.
that artist
Not
that
that.
did that? There
Oh, I
was an
forgot his
artist that
name.
did that as a to make a point, right? Van Gogh?
I don't
No.
know.
Is that the
No,
one?
it was
I
Van
think it was
Gogh cut off
Vincent
his
Van
ear.
Gogh, no?
Oh, yeah. It was Van
His
Gogh.
ear, just to make a
Hmm.
point. It was like most brilliant, I don't know, maybe that was a great thing to do. Or he was
I don't
just kind
know.
of, but
Again, freedom of expression. You got the
that
freedom of
was, I
expression.
don't,
Yeah. I don't
I
put.
hear, I guess you're allowed to do that.
See, I don't think a bordello, a rub and tug, whatever these things have anything to do with freedom of expression. I think that's more like that's
Yeah.
that's something completely different.
Yeah. And I guess there's that line of when you're doing harm to yourself. And I think we have laws at least against that here. Like if you're intentionally harming yourself, you can be locked up, I
Well, that's
think.
what you'd want
No,
to
not
do with
really.
suicide. Well, that's about.
No, not
I
really.
would
No,
think it
no,
would
no.
apply to suicide.
No,
But what
that's not
about
true
like
about
illicit
suicide,
drug
but
use? What about illicit drug use? That would be self-harming in the long, and that
no,
takes.
actually, I said that and I immediately take it back. I had this
Okay.
friend and she went like way downhill. I got four suicide calls and one from her now husband, then ex. It was this whole terrible thing. And I called in. I said, "What?" Oh, I took her to the hospital. Like, I finally convinced her after I think it was the first or second one before the second. Oh, like I took her to the hospital, checked her in to get like, this proper you
Yeah.
stay here for rehab kind of thing. 2 days later, she was out. And it was like a little bit after that. I think I either got the second or third kind of suicide. Like, Fraser, I'm sorry, I can't take it. This is it. I won't you. Goodbye. Like literally that. I'm gonna kill myself tonight, and I won't be here tomorrow. And then like things like I'll be wearing this color. You can tell the police I'll be in this kind of neighborhood with this color shirt, and I've just taken this number of pills. One time it was that I've just taken all these pills. It was like, the fuck can I do, man? I'm 2 hours away. And the next day I like texted, and then finally get a response. But so this kind of thing. And finally, after a little, or after in the middle of that, I'm like, I called. I was like, what can I do? This lady, she's like, seriously gonna kill herself. I don't know if like some of this stuff that she's doing is not just cries for help. I don't think. Can't do anything.
Really?
There's nothing to
So
do.
in America, they
I couldn't do
can.
anything.
See, in
Yeah, I couldn't get her
America,
locked up. It has to be like a family member or she admits herself or something like this.
really, because in
Or
America,
it was, yeah.
if one of my
Like,
friends, family, doesn't
she's
matter
still
who,
alive though.
even if I know, thank God, even if I know a stranger who is attempting to commit suicide, if I call the police, they can
Mhm.
forcibly take them away to have a mental evaluation. So that is very different here. They can take you away for that.
Maybe if you're in the act. Like
No,
it
no,
was kind of
that,
between
no,
times,
because
right? It's
I
just
know
I
a
don't know.
person who was threatening to do it, and the police took him to the hospital for a mental evaluation. So it's not even just like they have.
I'd have to check. Maybe that was it.
Again, that's not
Maybe
freedom
that's
of
the case here.
expression, though.
That makes sense, right?
That wouldn't be any
No, no,
freedom of
no. We're
speech.
talking
It's self
about
harm. No,
freedoms
yeah.
of kind of freedom of expression, but in terms of is it under the dog poop rule? Are you intentionally doing harm to others or yourself? It's almost like a little comma
But
there,
you're not
which
supposed
again,
to
you
do
were
any
kind of
harm.
putting that in a
But
religious
there,
sense.
but you're not supposed to do harm to your own body either. Intentionally or
But in the
unintentionally.
dog poop rule, like how, I don't know. I don't know if I'd put that one morally, like cutting your own ear off. Is that morally wrong to cut your own ear off?
Well, what if you want your back? You can't get it back now.
But it's like you didn't hurt anyone else.
but you're hurting
Kind of a
yourself,
weird thing
right?
to do.
It is weird.
What about someone who's got like chronic pain in their leg? I saw one guy, he had like some nerve thing in his foot, cut his leg off. It was just two thing, and he was so happy he had a prosthetic now. He says, "Oh, it's the best
But,
thing I ever did.
well, that's a medical condition,
Cut
though.
my leg
It's
off."
different. Cutting your leg off because just one are gone is different. If you have a lot of pain, if medical conditions don't count. Of course, people get gangrene. They have to have limbs removed. My brother almost had lost his leg because he broke it.
Mhm.
That's different than just doing things to your body just to do them. Tattoos, I don't think fall under that because that's just art. That's beautifying, kinda. It depends on the tattoo.
I don't know, but it's a fine line. There's the thing that the some tattoo parlors will do is scarification, and you get kind of a 3D effect, isn't it? You kind of scrape it so it
But
scars up
that's
a bit, and
still
then the result is this kind of white, and you can do like there. It's not
I've
perfect
seen those,
science,
yeah.
so I never wanted to get it done, but it's like, it's cutting. It's like cutting in. I guess I like again, I don't see the moral difference between that or any kind of change in your own body. It's like that's your own body now. Kind of weird to do that,
But
to cut things
by
off
the
and
by
glue
the
things
limit
on, but
though,
like putting in augmentation into your now
breast
free and
augmentation.
breast
Yeah,
augmentations,
yeah.
penis augmentations,
They
butt
have that too.
augmentations,
Yes, they have those too. Yeah. I
freaking
don't think I
cheap
don't think
things
any of
and
it
like
is.
lip
I don't think
butts,
any of it is
lip augmentations.
necessary. But you're not
Silly,
again. You're
but
not you're not removing
spend your
parts.
money how you want to spend it.
But you're not removing body parts. Some people just do that to remove body parts. I've seen people that have
You
split their
are. You
tongue.
remove like parts of here. Imagine you remove this
Yeah,
part to make it thinner. You're
yeah.
removing a part of your body. I don't see a big
Facial
difference between
reconstruction.
that. Someone got their, how did he do it? Did he even fuse two fingers or something?
I don't know.
Oh, like you see everything, everything. Removing piece like, or tongue things, or
I've seen people
piercing
split their tongues.
things.
You never seen people they split their tongues down the middle, or they split their penis down the middle?
Snake guy. Yeah, there's a
Oh,
snake guy like the cat guy, and
yeah,
he's got the forked tongue, and he kind of did his face into scales or something.
yeah. That's
Whew,
that's. I think
which is
that would
kind of,
fall under body mutilation. There are things that you shouldn't do to your body. I think there are things that are okay. Again, there might be a line.
but laws
We,
though. Now we're telling other people
but,
what they
all
can do
right.
with
So we're
their
not.
body. I
Let's.
don't do it.
Oh no, I wouldn't
I don't
tell
know.
somebody not to do it. I would never tell somebody not to do it. They want to do that. With, taking away from the religion part of it
Yeah,
now, with the morality.
yeah,
Let's take the morality part away. Let's just go into legal
sure.
right
Yeah.
now. Okay.
Legal is better.
So legally, if you want to do anything to your body as expression of who you are, you should have the freedom to do it, whether you're harming yourself or not. That's up to you. Maybe you're not. Again,
Illegal. Legally.
it's the dog poop rule. You're not harming anybody else. You're just doing harm to yourself. You want to do that harm to yourself? I think you should be able to do it, but up to a point. Like you shouldn't be able to cut off limbs or something if you want to do that to show expression. That would be like a limit. But a tattoo, a
As soon as it
piercing,
gets the
split your
medical
tongue.
system, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Because that's where most places, except for what is your state that doesn't have the seatbelt law? New
I think
Hampshire or
there's a
something like
seatbelt
that?
law. I don't know. I think all states do.
No, there's one. We drove through it on our way to Boston. The one time I went down there, I think it's New Hampshire or
Oh,
something. It's like live free or die. And it's just like, it's your choice. You might hurt yourself, but it's not a law. Whereas most places have put it as a law because and really with one of the justifications, which I buy into as a certain degree, that by not wearing a seatbelt, you increase your chance of injury, right? Like imagine how
no.
costly to society it is, a back injury. Whereas if you have a
Yeah.
seatbelt, you don't have a back injury. That's
Right.
like a $500,000 or $1 million that you have to, or more. I don't know how much it costs to keep someone alive like this for 20 years, say 5 years. I don't know, whatever.
Have you?
So
Yeah.
in that
Well,
sense,
the only
everyone
one.
has to put seatbelts on because it's a public safety thing.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly. You
but
get
then
used to
that's
it
not
too.
quite the body mutilation, but it's kind of like putting yourself at risk, cutting your own arm off. Well, you might bleed to death. Now you're putting your whole system at risk so you
Yeah.
can express yourself. No, no. That kind of thing. I'm starting to get with you on there's a limit. There's this line of body mutilation for me. But you're not, as long as you're not going to bleed to
Personally,
death. I
yeah.
don't know. Anyway, I see. Cutting your arm off. That
The
was a big
state
one,
that
right?
doesn't have it is New Hampshire. Have you been to
It
New
was New
Hampshire?
Hampshire, yeah.
Okay, so that's
Just through, I remember seeing a sign and it was like 16-year-old or under, I think you had to. But if you're over 16 years old, you don't have to use it was something like you don't have to put on a seatbelt, but it's a good idea. Something along those lines was like the actual sign. You're in New Hampshire. You don't have to put on a seatbelt, but it's a good idea. Something along these things.
Yeah. Okay.
But in
Yeah,
the
New
sort of
York.
like,
Yeah, New York has seatbelt laws, and if you get caught with that one, it's $160, and I think it's points off your license now.
wow, wow,
Oh, you don't even know.
craziness.
Wait, I gotta explain to you first. You start with
Oh, show
11
me.
points on your license in New York State. You remove points when you get violations. If you get down to
We do
zero,
that too.
okay, so
Yeah,
you get down to zero, you can't have a license anymore. But we do have programs here, like you take a 6-hour safety course, you get 2 points back, and you get your points back after certain. I think it's like 3 years. You start earning points back, but you only get 11. So like in one, I just get down to a
yeah,
little bit of the law just as a trivia. Drag racing in New York City, you get caught drag racing, it's 13 points off your license.
yeah.
13, and
Right
you only
away.
have
That's
11.
here too.
So
Yeah,
that's it, an immediate suspension,
yeah.
and they have the authority to take away your car. So not only you get that, you lose your license, you lose your car, and you don't get reimbursed for it. They just take it away.
Oh yeah, yeah. There was a guy. Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, I think seizing a car
Oh
because
yeah,
it's in
sure.
the
Yeah, that
something
was
of a crime. There was a guy just like this week on the radio. I heard he was arrested for stunt driving. They put it under stunt driving because he passed an ambulance with its lights on the highway. So he was going like a 170 to
whoa.
collect him
Okay,
or something or
that's
160.
kilometers,
He was
people.
passing an ambulance. Yeah, yeah. So 100 miles an hour, just
Yeah.
over 100 miles an hour. And so I guess a policeman saw him doing this and stopped him, and
Oh,
he it was stunt driving. Boom, you lose your car.
I was.
I'm just trying to look up the points.
There's a comedian named Rondell Sheridan. He was saying he went to Canada. He says you can do 80 miles. The sign says the speed limit 80. So he's driving 80 miles an hour, right? He sees the next sign, slow down to 40 for children crossing. That's the least I can do for the kids. Meanwhile, meanwhile it's 80 kilometers and
Yum.
40 kilometers.
Ooh, I think they've got signs outside of Montreal that it's like this big thing. MPH no.
Yeah, yeah,
KPH,
yeah.
or something along these lines. Like we are not using miles here, or something
Right,
like 60 does not equal 60, or something
right.
like these lines. Exactly. It was because of him. That one guy turned it on. I was just trying to look up quickly. I typed in demerit points.
I
You get
have to go
different
to America.
brackets. Actually, I should probably run. It's after midnight. I should probably run
Yeah,
now. But
great. I think we hit the limit of this
anyways, it was a good
already.
start. It was good. I think we
So
got through
you wanted
the
the
First
Second Amendment
Amendment.
tomorrow? Yeah, you got through it. Yeah, you wanted the Second Amendment
We can
tomorrow?
touch on Second Amendment.
That's going to be an
Yeah,
argument.
for sure, for sure. It'll be something.
I might have to go.
We'll
Yeah,
see if the witches, or no, the witches are, no, the Jedi or Star Wars, Wiccan or, I don't know,
yeah,
witches or
yeah.
Wiccan.
That was yeah. Right. Okay. All right. So,
It could go well. Good. All right, well, we could sign off and
all right. So
get
this
to
is
number two. I
number
mean,
two.
amendment number two.
Yeah, Amendment number two. Right.
And you can get to number one.
Yeah, I have to. Yeah, okay.
Sorry. That
So
was a
this is what? What? Anything else? You okay, Fraser?
I just want to keep talking so you don't you'll
Yeah,
be like,
yeah,
I gotta go, I
yeah,
gotta
I'm gonna piss my pants. All right, this is Seek the Truth, Funny Frank and Fraser, and the U.S. Constitution. And we're signing off. Good night. God bless.